Hello and a warm welcome back. Today on the bench at first are a load of vintage high quality valve bases. So this is by way of being a Mailbog. I can't remember what number it is, but these are various bits that I've received over the last few months from very good friends and some things I've bought. So I just thought we'd have a look at all the lovely things that I've accumulated over the last several months. This is a very belated thank you to Frank over in Washington in America. He kindly sent me these. Well, they're not new old stock. It's a bit. Oh no, these are new old stock. Some are new old stock. These are amplifier UX5 valve bases. So usually if you get a valve base for something like an 807, it'll be one of those big Chinese jobbies. Well, they're a bit of a sod to mount and they've got a very big profile. These are brilliant. These are ceramic, very high quality, so obviously they can handle really high voltage. So I've got 6 of those that he kindly sent me, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? 12. I think that's 12. And then we've got 12. I'm not quite sure what this make is, but they are probably military spec they use, but that's not a problem. They're still very good. They've got really good pins and everything. So these are octal valve sockets, which will obviously help in me making more amplifiers going into the future. So a very, very big thank you to Frank, who sent these over at his own cost. I didn't have to pay for the shipping or anything. Thank you, Frank. He also sent me some of this very hard to find nowadays stuff called fish paper, which is heavy duty paper. It's probably a few years old, but it's used for the making of transformers. And so next we'll get on to some transformery bits and bobs that people have sent me. And Ian, Ian, he often comments on the videos, and I've fixed a few amplifiers for him. And so as a sort of thank you, he sent me these 2 sort of transformer kits, as it were. They are split bobbin, as you can see. Lots of laminations, clamps and all the rest of it. And so I intend very, very soon to actually get my head round building some output transformers for the next amplifier. So a belated thank you to Ian. Thanks, Ian. Continuing on in the sort of transformery winding theme, these are some old reels of wire that I bought for winding transformers, and I recently put in an order the other day to continue winding the Big Tektronix 585A transformer and got these. What the? So yeah, I don't know whether this is a sort of continued thing, like cost cutting all over the place. For instance, the other day I went to buy some soy sauce, and in the past the soy sauce came in glass bottles, and now it comes in plastic bottles. So I presume this is like a sort of similar thing that they've done, is to try to cut down on costs so that they can keep the price competitive. However, it does create a bit of a problem in that when you've got a sort of large reel like that, the wire comes off over quite a distance. Well, obviously the distance, that's about an inch. So whether that will present any problems when we're winding, I don't know. It will certainly present a problem when I come to mount it on the old winding machine. So these are from Brocot. I usually get me wire from Brocot. The other good source in the UK for wire and whatnot is the Wire company. I don't know, I'll put a link in the description, but sometimes they're a little bit cheaper, but I prefer Brocart. Like the website is a lot easier to use and all the rest of it. But yeah, so yeah, that was a bit of a shock. Onwards and upwards. Next up, I bought this off a chap off the forum that I often mention, and this is a big chassis punch to punch big holes into chassis for building amplifiers. And wouldn't you know it, it's just a perfect size, little bit under maybe, for cutting holes for these lovely Amphenol ceramic valve holders that Frank sent me. So yeah, it was only like, what, I don't know, a few quid. It makes life easier rather than having to use a big step drill, or in the past I've used like lots of files and sandpaper and formers and God knows what to do it. Makes life loads easier. If you can get some of these, you can get the best ones are called Greenlee, which I think are American made, but they can be quite expensive, but you can find other ones that will do the job. And if you're not doing, you know, a lot of work, they will last you a lifetime. Next up, these are a few drills that I bought for making, you know, the printed circuit boards. Well, they're not printed circuit boards, the circuit boards that I knock up using a Dremel and whatnot. And the old drill bit I got, 1mm drill bit that I got, was getting really tired, and I sharpened it and sharpened it, and it's only like about that big now. So I got some nice 1mm drill bits, and then I think I'm gonna be on to a bit of a challenge with these. These are, what are they? 1/2mm drill bits, and I think, to be honest, if I try to drill those with a Dremel thing that I've got, they're gonna break, but we'll give them a go anyway. And I got these from, where did I get them from? UK Drills, Wigan Road, Hindley. They're a really good company. These were, yeah, not a lot. Where are we? £3.86. They only come to about £6 for all these drill bits. So yeah, I shall be using that company again. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. Next up, in these really troubled times when you've got so much political and social division and hatred going around, it is really nice when this small community of vintage valve enthusiasts all help each other out. It really restores my faith in humanity. And so the other day I've got a problem with a noise issue on my PC. Lots of really heavy noise, I don't know, quite a few dB, and so I just sort of asked for solutions on the forum that I'm on, and Dave, bless him, kindly sent me these vintage BBC ex-BBC LL 106 SA isolation transformers. They've got a 1:1 winding ratio, meaning if you put 1 volt in, you get 1 volt out. Yeah, and they're just lovely. He sent them free of charge, paid the postage and everything. God love him, God bless him. These come with a Moo metal case. You can't, as it says on there, if you knock the case or anything like that, then you will damage the magnetic shielding. I will get onto those in a minute as to how I'm going to use them. Going on in similar vein, I also put a query on the forum about silver solder. You use 3% silver solder for soldering the big Tech 500 oscilloscope, valve oscilloscopes. And Mike, bless him, sent me all this free solder. Again, paid the postage and everything. So we've got some Earthsyn 362 multi-core. Right, I think SN is tin, PB is lead, AG is silver. So that's 6236, 2%, low residue solder. There's a couple of different gauges in there. Also sent me this Alpha RC SN62 PB36, 2% silver solder. 5 meters of it, and this is the original silver solder that Tech used to send with the oscilloscopes. This is 3% silver content solder, and this stuff is called Cardass quad eutectic solder, and we don't know what the bloody hell's in this. When I was looking for solder recently, 3% silver solder to work on Tech oscilloscopes, this stuff came up in the search contents, and weirdly they don't tell you what's in it. It's got a bit of copper in it, it's got this, that and the other in it. But thank you very much, Mike, it's really much appreciated. I mean, this stuff isn't cheap. So again, the kindness of strangers. I've never met these blokes, I just, you know, yeah, amaze me. Even more kindness, I put a post on the forum asking for recommendations for decent heat shrink, because a lot of the sort of cheap stuff that you get like isn't very good. And then Alan, who lives not far up the road from me, sent me all this free of charge again. Bless him. I mean, there's more than enough to last to see me out here, so bless you. Thank you, Alan. Another very good friend of mine, Robin, or Rob, who lives up in Spalding, kindly popped over. Every Christmas he pops over and brings me and my daughter like a few nice bits and bobs, you know, food wise and whatnot, which is really very kind. And then he came and gave me all this. Oh blimey, I'm just overwhelmed, you know. Lots of cable ties, just normal sort of cable ties, and then these other one, oh, they're sort of different types. Again, more than enough to see me off this planet. More cable ties there. Ugh. And then we've got these cable ties here, which have got like a little sort of tab on them so that you can, I presume, like write a label or whatever. And this is sort of trunking so that you can organise cable. More cable ties, and these ones have like got this, I've never seen these ones before. These ones have got like this sort of thing there, so yeah, I'm sure they will be very useful. I can't think of an application just off the top of my head. More stuff, which is sort of cable management, if I can figure it out. I mean, a lot of this is new old stock. That looks like spiral sort of stuff, you know, for organising like small signal cables. This stuff, which is really useful, oh sorry, this stuff which is really useful, which is expanding sort of sleeving, which means you can basically, you know, if you've got like a bunch of cables like I've got on that big 807 amp, I can organise them and make it look nice. More of similar stuff, similar again, same again. sleeving of different sorts. Tiny sort of sleeving. Actually, I was looking for some sleeving the other day for doing the bloody transformer. Honestly, yeah, I should have thought of this. Really fine sleeving. What an idiot. I'm looking for bloody sleeving the other day. Anyway, never mind. This is cotton braided sort of sleeving. This is really nice. It feels like silicone sleeving. And finally, we've got some more cable management sort of spiral stuff there. Thank you very much, Robin. A very belated thank you. Finally, for this Mailbog, got a couple of bits of couple of reels of insulation tape. This stuff I bought. This is yellow, I don't know, yellow polyamide tape. I don't know what the fuck you call it. Just useful for transform winding. And this is Captain tape. Bought off eBay. The proper stuff, 3M stuff, you're talking, what, about 50 quid for that roll? This was about a fiver. I'm just going to go and test it. I'm always suspicious of cheap stuff, you know. But so far, the stuff I've bought off eBay has done the job. So let's test it. Got the old iron. Yeah, that's Captain tape, alright. That's a 700-degree iron. Alright, I think that winds up the Mailbog. Thank you all again, everybody who has sent me bits and bobs and all the rest of it. Very much appreciated. One final point on this, people sending stuff for free or for no charge. I try to do the same myself. So if somebody needs like a cathode ray tube for an older oscilloscope and I've got one and that it was given to me in the past and I can no longer use it, then I will pass that on, just charge for the postage and pass that on to somebody else. When I was on the road in the past, I used to be a sort of new age traveller and everything, and it was a very, at least in the early days, it was a very good self-help ethos. And so if somebody didn't have any money, you would give somebody some money. Not lend it, you would give it to them. It was called paying it forward. For instance, the other day, like I was driving to town, and there was a chap on a Honda Goldwing, and he'd just run out of petrol, and he was pushing it up this hill. He was an old fella like myself. Anyway, I stopped the car, put my hazards on to warn other traffic. Luckily, I had some petrol in the boot, and so I filled him up, and he wanted to give me some money, and I said no. I mean, I could have done with the money. I'm always skint, as you know. And I said no, pay it forward. So, like I said, in these times of, you know, hatred and division, try to be kind to each other, trying to help each other out, show your humanity. It was, you know, it's just, yeah, you know what the fuck I'm saying.